let me go ahead and kind of give you a little bit of a rundown in case you missed it. Happened around, I think, Buck, 3:30, 4 o'clock Eastern, shortly after we went off air yesterday. Unbelievable visuals. Like, leave aside the importance of the decision and the executive order itself. But the fact that Trump had all these little girls, I mean, 6, 7, 10-year-old girls all gathered around him while he signed the order. The fact that he said, hey, the Secret Service is a little bit nervous about this, but if I'm in danger from you guys, I'm in real trouble. So they just kind of flooded around him. J.K. Rowling has shared that picture. We have retweeted it. Videos, Clay and Buck. If you haven't seen it, I really think you need to go check it out. And what is important about this? First of all, let's play what Trump said at the event. This is cut 7 as he signs and defends girls and women's sports. Let's listen to cut 7.
You want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? You ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Okay, you need to watch the video. That's Trump surrounded.
Pretty good, huh? I see that. Okay.
By all these kids. Here is what it actually does. Cut 8. And then I want to tell you what the impact of this has already been, and then also what we need to do going forward on it. But here's Trump explaining what his executive order actually does that he signed yesterday. You just saw or heard what it sounded like when he signed it. This is cut 8.
With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So this will effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities.
Okay, so, Buck, the NCAA, the minute that this executive order was signed, said it's over. No more men who identify as women in women's sports. The executive order gave them, I think, frankly, they've been cowards on this, but it gave them the cover they needed. Now, I want all of you, and I tweeted this out, John Thune is the Senate Majority Leader. A bill enshrining the executive order that Trump signed has already passed the House. Only 2 Democrats voted for it. It has not yet passed the Senate. Buck, what do you and I talk about a lot? It's that as great as these executive orders are, if Trump is not in office in 2029 and whatever Democrat comes back into office, they can rescind a lot of these executive orders. We need the force of law behind them. We need John Thune in the Senate to bring this bill to the Senate floor, and we need to get it passed just like the House passed it. In fact, Allie, will you reach out to Senator John Thune, who I don't know, Buck, if we've ever had him on the show. We should regardless. Senate Majority Leader. And see if we can get him scheduled to come on, because I would like to hear why this wouldn't be up for the Senate soon. But, Buck, this to me is something that I've been fighting on for years now. And I want to play Harry Enton, I think it is, on CNN, laying out this is what the marketplace of ideas is for. Over time, you make arguments, and if you make the better argument, you win. That's the result of this. It's now an 80-20 issue nationwide. And here is Harry Enton talking about how popular this is and how much public opinion has moved and why this is so significant. Listen.
Only 18%
of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports. You get 67% of Democrats, so two-thirds there. You get 64% of independents, so you get about two-thirds there. And then look at this, near uniformity among Republicans, 94% of Republicans in opposition. You rarely get 67% of Democrats and 94% of Republicans to agree on anything, but they do on this particular issue.
Buck, I mean, this is to me not political, smart, common sense. Let's make rational choices. This is what I think Trump is doing so well in the first several weeks. A lot of this stuff is not nakedly partisan. It's just good old-fashioned common sense.
Well, the Democrat radicalism is made very apparent by the fact that it's an 80-20 issue by really anyone's account, right? It's an 80-20 issue. And yet, to be a Democrat in good standing, you have to forget about what the people actually think and mouth the preferred slogans. You have to actually be willing to say publicly, which, what people say, well, what do most Democrats do? They avoid it. They talk around it. They say some platitude like, this is about, treating people, as they, who they are. And this is should some guy, should Macho Man Randy Savage be able to do track and field against a bunch of chicks? That is the real question. Everything else is noise. And people, I think, see it as such. They understand it, even among Democrats. For example, also another show on iHeart, The Breakfast Club, both Charlemagne, Mr. The God, and DJ Envy are both very clear. This is Cut 5, very clear on this, and are like, I can't believe this had to listen to what they had to say in the morning.
Not gonna get any complaints on me about that. I can't even believe that had to be signed, because this should have never been a thing. I totally agree with that one, but I'm not gonna let that distract me from the fact that Elon Musk literally controls how the federal government pays people. Let's stay focused.
Yeah, I would say that too. I always go back to that one swimmer that, as a man, the swimmer was like in 400th place, and then when she trans to a woman, was in first place, and how sad all those parents were because their daughters were training and felt like they were cheated. So yeah, I'm with this one as well.
Yes, correct. Both of them, high fives, nailing it. Absolutely true. And forget about the Elon stuff for a second.
Yeah. If you don't know that show, that is a super popular iHeart show that focuses to a large extent on the black community, one of the top rated shows there. And Buck, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Remember, Trump put together the least racially divisive presidential win, which nobody wants to talk about, since 1964. How did he do it? By focusing on a lot of very much common sense issues that shouldn't be partisan. You heard Harry Enten say 67% of Democrats agree with this.
I mean, I wish you could come for a walk. I live in Miami Beach, so it's a little different. But if you were to come around downtown Miami, and particularly around, Little Havana, but a lot of different areas, people would come up to us who are Cuban, Venezuelan, Argentinian, now Americans, but of those,
Yes.
Cuban American, Argentinian American, and they're all just like, I love the show, I love Trump, like, great job, guys. You know what I mean? And I understand we're in South Florida, and you've got a Cuban refugee population here that tends to be right of center. Same with a lot of the Venezuelans now. But this idea that they tried to create the notion that Trump is a criminal and a threat to democracy, and that failed. They tried to create the idea that Trump is an actual rapist, and that failed. And they tried to create the idea that Trump is a horrible racist, and that failed. And when I say it failed, look at the election that we just had, to your point. Look at the data.
Also, just look at the images. Images matter, because when those little girls all gather around Trump and he's sitting there signing that, and that is going to be seen by probably 100 million plus people. First of all, how great is it that we don't have to worry about, the commander in chief sniffing all the little girls, which was like Joe Biden's creepy, weird sort of antics, right? But how do you make that guy seem like a bad dude when he's like, hey, girls, I think you should just compete against girls,
But
and I'm protecting that. He just looks like America's grandpa.
this also goes to the fundamental falsehood of the Democrat Party as it has been for years now, Clay. They Joe Biden does not represent the vanguard, the decision makers of the Democrat Party now. He is not in the control room of the Democrat apparatus. Biden is a Democrat from a bygone era. Obviously, he's way too old, as we all know, right? Biden is not what the Democrat Party is. The reason they put him forward in 2020 is because they thought they could still fool enough people into thinking that the Democrats of, 1996 are the Democrats of today. Biden's White House was putting out stuff about trans surgery for minors. Does anyone believe that Joe Biden has really been a big proponent of transgender surgery for 13 and 4, and puberty blockers? Of course not. He was a facade. The whole thing was fake, right? He was a Trojan horse, as we said from the very beginning of the 2020 election, a Trojan horse meant to convince enough people, oh, the Democrat Party isn't actually the left-wing radicals that we're starting to see in the media. I'm getting this sense the Democrat Party's gone insane. Oh, but good old Joe will be the president. No, he was a sock puppet. He was just there to head fake everybody and to fool everybody. And that, I think, is why we have such a rejection, not just in politics, but in the culture now, too, of the left, because, Clay, the whole thing was dishonest. It was all a lie. And this 80-20 gender issue just shows you this. How is it democratic to have them force this madness, which is a lie, on the rest of the country? And don't fall for this, by the way, because you're seeing this now. There's not that many transgender athletes. Why are you so focused on this? When they were in power, it was, if just one transgender athlete exists who wants to play on women's sports professionally, NCAA, we have to accommodate that person as a matter of policy and law. So they don't get to play the game now of, why are you so focused on it? It's only a few. They're such babies, honestly. It's just all such emotional nonsense with them.
It's a win. It's a big win. And Trump is stacking them on a level that we've never seen in the first 2 weeks. And really, again, Buck, I just come back to so much of this is just good old-fashioned common sense. The kind of thing that used to be a big part of American politics and American life until, I think, Buck, social media. The more and more I start to look back on things and try to be rational as sort of a history basis, the nation went insane when social media really rose. It's hard to argue that was not sort of the spark that lit the nation on fire. And I think people are getting more rational finally, but it took about a decade.
You know what I did today? I bought some gold because, yes, Trump is fixing a lot. Elon's fixing a lot, but we still have a massive debt to tackle. Inflation is still cutting away at savings. And I like the sturdiness, the historical proven record of precious metals, particularly gold. I already have some gold holdings, and as of today, I just added to them with our friends from the Birch Gold Group. They've got a team that does this day in and day out. They want to help you build the right gold portfolio for yourself. Now, for some of you, that's going to be actual hard precious metals you can hold in your hand and keep yourself. That's what I've got. Others, you could have a 401k or IRA that you turn into a 401k or IRA in gold. And that's an incredibly easy process once you reach out to your friends at Birch Gold. I'll just add, if you got a 401k from an old job, maybe you're not doing much with, no active management going on, you can transition into gold so easily. Look, trust Birch Gold. I do. It's who I go to for my gold. You can too. To get a free copy of their new guide on gold, along with Birch Gold's free info kit, text my name Buck to the number 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck. If you want to use your phone, just text my name, BUCK, to 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck for your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. No obligation, only information.